Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and this is No More Water. Fire. Next time. I have an interesting topic about the events of what happened today. Many people lost their SNAP benefits. But before I start on that, I want to mention something from my show last night when I mentioned about the church not being obligated to help the community. Many people feel that the church should. Many times you can do something for a person for so long, so now they think you're obligated to do so. The original role of the church was to have a place for the believers to congregate, and the only role the church has for the community is to win souls for Christ. Anything other than that is just things that they choose to do. They don't have to feed you. They don't have to have pantries. That's the case. Why people not running to the mosque looking for them to feed you? They'll feed you, but you better come up with some money for that bean pie and fish. So don't get it twisted. They're not here. I'm gonna get on my subject, but I still say the church is not obligated to the community. Who does who's the community obligated to? Who's the community kept to serve? The liquor store, the weed man, the Arab store. When you got extra money, did you drop any money by that church that has been feeding you? So I know many other people may have other points on it, but that's, and I think mine is factual. Going by the history of the church, I think mine is factual. But look, I have getting to my subject. Many people may starve in the world's richest nation. As you know, today many people lost their SNAP benefits, and which I think is terrible. And they do have a contingency fund where they can actually pay those benefits. They have years worth of contingency fund that's already been paid for, but they just won't do it, and then they're on television lying, saying that they can't use those funds, but they can. They're the biggest liars. Every word come out of their mouth is nothing but lies. But many people say, "Well, why don't you get a job and work?" Most of the people who get SNAP do work. This is a nation of working poor. And they'll find out that white people weren't doing as good as they thought they were. Many of them are doing worse than black people. But they'll vote against their own interests, thinking they're hurting black people, like they do with the Affordable Care Act. I want, I want my Affordable Care Act. It's great. But that Obamacare, they just say all kinds of stuff against Obamacare, not knowing that Obamacare is just a slang name for the Affordable Care Act that the Republicans gave it as a slur to get white people not to like it because they know that they put a black face, anything you put a black face on, they're not gonna like it. That's just like somebody saying, I love marijuana, but I hate weed. Same thing. Yeah, but you see, I hate the many people gonna lose their benefits. Well, they come up with every excuse there is about why don't you stop having so many babies? They got them. They got them. You stopped abortion, but they got them. So what are you gonna do? Let them starve? People have children. You know, they're like the white woman was on there having her ninth child. See, they thought only black women did that. Main child by different men. And then there was this one white woman I showed you the other night. She was getting over. She'd been getting over $10,000 in benefits for the last 13 years. She's making six figures a year off of the government, more money than most people make on their job. They find out it don't, see now that they're finding out that it don't have a black face on it. Maybe now more people will be more, will embrace it more, not try to really vilify the people who get SNAP or welfare. I mean, they really did black women really bad back during the Reagan administration. And we're talking about the welfare queen. There was this one black woman that ain't got over $100,000 in food stamps. She was for fraud, and they just put on all the black women. Now we got these white women just now on this one woman. She was getting $4,100 a month in food stamps. Now you know those people are not buying that much food. They're not eating them no $4,100 in food, no $10,000. They're keeping some and selling most of it. Come on, you know you would. You was getting $10,000. I can't say she was getting $10,000. After that, I say she was getting $10,000 in food stamps. She was getting ten. She was getting $10,100 in government benefits. That's including her food stamps, her Section 8, and her cash benefits. She was 35 years old. Said she never worked a day in her life. But then why should she have to? Getting six figures off the government, why should she have to work? But look, now to me, what am I gonna do? Well, do like black folks do the best you can. Like the house of prostitution may come back soon, yeah, may do the best you. Now we gotta take care of our women though. We gotta do something. I'm talking about theirs. I just the one I care about. We cared about other folks for a long time, but they never cared about us. That's why we're in the midst we're in now. People thought they was hurting us. Now they found out they're hurting themselves. But look, the one that was getting, the woman that was the white woman that was getting $4,100 a month in food stamps alone, and not counting cash benefits. She was upset because they found out she had a 2025 BMW. They said she'd have to sell it. And if she sells it, that money not going to all go to her. But they let her keep her food stamps. Could you imagine a black woman? They know have a 2025 BMW. And they're gonna let her keep the food stamp and just talk about sell it. Because if she's gonna sell it, that means it's paid for. If she can, that's the only way she can sell it. If it's paid for, then she can let them finance company take it back if it's not. But if she's gonna sell it, that means it's already paid for. See, these people been getting rich off the system for quite a while, but they always blamed us for it. In all these systems, from the vacuum, white women got most of that, and white men. Why do I say white men? Look at this. Okay, they set aside 17%. First, it was supposed to be for black people. A lot of black women got government jobs because they saw them as that when they put us in the minority status, that's what ruined things for us. They saw black women as a double minority. So why hire a black man? You can just hire a black woman and you're getting two for the price of one, black and female. But white women were getting the bulk of that. Even the Asians and the other people of color was getting more than us. So what happened was once you put everyone else in that 17% with white women and all, who the white male is now you got everybody else together, right? So the white male is now what? The minority. What is he getting? What's 17 out of 100? That's what my math goal is 83. The white male is getting 83%. And he wasn't satisfied with that. He trying to get his daughters and wives and all to put business in their name so they could get part of that 17%. That's how evil and diabolical he is. And the thing about it is that I told you this before. President Lyndon Johnson had said that if you could teach the lowest white person, that they're better than the highest black person. You can pick their pockets and then they'll never know it. Give them someone to look down on, they'll empty their pockets for you. Look down on black people, you don't see how white people are the one benefiting off of affirmative action and not black people. They're picking your pockets because you hate black folks so much. You're letting them pick your pockets, like you said. And see, because any program that's instituted in this nation is not done for black people. It's always done for white people. We just get in on it. When welfare was started after the New Deal with President um, Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, black people couldn't get it. It was for relief for white people because they set up a system where you had to pay, you had to be a person who was paying into the tax base. But at that time, black people mostly had domestic or farm jobs and were paid in cash. So that most of them, so that left most black people where they couldn't get welfare, even though all those white people weren't paying taxes. That's why they didn't have jobs. They had to start in the first place. And when black people start getting it, the man can't be in the house. But the white women was getting it with the man in the house. The men was getting it themselves. So anything that's made to benefit people in this nation was not meant for black people. We had to get in on it later. Just about everything. Voting, everything that was meant to benefit people. Okay, DEI. That's just a rebranded name of affirmative action. Same thing. White women getting the majority of that. Hold on a second. I got too much heat. White women was the biggest beneficiary of that. And instead of talking about who's not qualified, why don't they look at the fact why these programs had to be instituted in the first place? Okay, the way they're doing now, they're saying anyone who gets a job and is not a white male is a DEI hire. But I tell you about me. If I go to the airport, my pilot is black or female. I got an all black or female crew. I'd feel safe. Know why? Do you know the hoops those people had to jump through? They had to be the best of the best to be where they're at. White guy, he may be a pilot out of legacy because his father was a pilot. Many of them get jobs because of legacy because their people was a pilot. The people, run those jobs. Many of them go to top notch schools out of legacy. Your father went to Harvard, his father went to Harvard, he gets to go. And they're gonna ruin their mission for white women also. This is hitting white women hard also. This man is so diabolical, he's hurting his own women, which he's always done. What do you think the right to work bill had to be instituted for? Not for black. That really wasn't for black people. That's because the white man wouldn't allow the white woman to work. So that's how they started the feminist movement. And then when the white woman was allowed to work, when they first started working, do you know she couldn't pick up her own paycheck? Her paycheck was given to her husband. Black men wasn't doing that. Black men don't, not the one that give women less money for the same work. That's white men doing that. But you don't hear white women saying, white men do this, white men do that. But black women, anytime you all talk about men, you do black men this, black men that. White man has done all this by diabolical stuff. But you never hear white women calling him out like he's doing it because he's white. They never do that. And see, then with the feminist movement, see, they They brought black women into it. And that ruined the black community. Everything started going towards a woman. Everything was geared towards a woman. And if the men made anything about it, she called the police. Everything worked against the black man. I'm just left it alone. Now the women running everything. We haven't made any gains since then. We had started really hitting on all cylinders in the late 60s, early 70s until they brought feminism into it. Black men built this democratic machine, not democratic machine, voting machine we had. Now it's being dismantled because women are running. They're not really organized like the men were. I'm not trying to talk against women. I'm just telling the truth. Because when you all say stuff about men, you just say what you got to say. You don't care if men like it or not. So the same way here. You all have ruined this community by letting these people fill up your head thinking you can run it without the men. And you can't. You know what's happened to the Democratic Party? It's full of feminism now. Well, you know what feminists do? They try to demasculate men like masculinity is toxic. When a woman like masculine, she's strong, independent. But when a man who is masculine, who's supposed to be, is toxic. But I'm just gonna be toxic. And you don't have to like it. They're making me bow down no woman. You may need to cut that foolishness out. See the white women doing the film. I'm gonna get back to my subject though. White women, they started that feminist stuff. They go to those rallies, get on TV, and they just talk all that feminist stuff. But you know what she did when she went home? She became a wife and a mother. The black woman took the stuff home to her man, fussing at him, and he's the very man who didn't have nothing to do with that stuff. You were working all the time. Your problems wasn't from him. Men need to take back control of our communities. It's just not working with them. We haven't won anything since the women been running the community. That's just a fact. Just look at it. Black people used to be married at a rate of 83%. The women started embracing feminism. And now the marriage rate is what, like 25%, 24, 25%. Most black women will never get married in their lives. Black men actually have a higher marriage rate than black women. I don't mean to get off into this subject, but it all tied into, about why many of the women had to get government benefits. See, men never depended on the government much. That's why it's not hurting us so much. That's why we didn't lose government jobs because they wouldn't give them to us anyway. They gave it to the women because they were a double minority. Men don't have to go get college degrees all the time. He can go to trade school. And a man to the jobs women primarily had didn't pay a lot of money. Women have to get a degree to make a good salary. Men can go get a job at a factory, warehouse. Because black men still out earn black women. Cause you ever just talk about the ones who go to college. Most black women don't go to college. Most don't have degrees. So let's get that straight. I know you may think I'm getting off subject, but all these goals, we are talking about government benefits. Excuse me. And a lot of this is tying in to why you had to get them in the first place. Now, many people may say, well, why are these women you have to get food to them? Can't their fathers feed them? Many of them, the father isn't home and the mother and father working. But have you seen the price of stuff now? And see with internet and people going out of the country now, people see how people living in other countries. They don't have to work as hard as we do and have more. But they're making you think this nation is the best nation on earth. But it's not. I heard who said this said was it JD Vance said black people in America, there are more millionaires in America than any black millionaires in America than anywhere else. So black people living better here than anywhere in the world. According to who? Everyone don't measure their quality of life by how much money they got in their pockets. You got people living just fine who don't make nearly as much money as they do here. They eating better food because all this just a bunch of chemical junk we got. There are people who leave here and go to other countries, eat the same way and lose weight. No more extra exercise. This food has all type of chemicals in it. Then you gotta go and to keep the pharmaceutical business thriving because they're making you sick. But yeah, we may do somehow. And one judge ruled that the government has to free those benefits up. And Jimmy, as you know, Trump don't go by what the judge say. He don't go by what the Supreme Court say. So you know he's not going to go by what just an individual judge say. We're not in a dictatorship or authoritarian government or fascist government. We're not headed to it. We're already in it. Anytime you're president, you don't have to listen to anyone, not even the Supreme Court. Now he's talking about attacking Venezuela. Today he's talking about attacking Nigeria. Talking about they're persecuting Christians. Who persecute Christians more than they do in Israel? They've been persecuting Christians and the black Hebrew Israelites in Israel since there's been in Israel, since those people been there. The United States picks nations they think they can beat up on with no repercussions. The other African nations need to help Nigeria. Stand with them. Take the ideas of Abraham Traore and Kenny Fossey. They're building up their armies, they're ready to French out, they're keeping their own gold, they're nationalizing their resources. You can't come in there and just take this stuff anymore. Africa is a continent on the rise. It's the lowest medium age of any continent on earth. I think the United States is like, the medium age is close to 40, which is old, for a nation. And many other nations is much higher. I believe Canada's higher. Europe's much higher. China's not making enough babies. Not China, but Japan. China's got too many. The median age in Africa is 19 years old. Babies over there. That means they're going to have a workforce, the largest workforce. So yeah, see, many people they think you're supposed to measure your quality of life just by how much money you got. When I was a kid coming up, we didn't have a whole lot. Now I felt like we were living better then than now. I got way much more money. My family, all of us doing well. But for some reason, it feel like you were doing better. Back when you was a kid, you didn't have that much. But maybe it's because we was kids and we didn't have to pay no bills. But it seemed like our parents was content. We didn't have all the problems we have now. But see now, with the invention of the internet, they have all these rich people flying all this stuff. A lot of people feel that they're not up to par if they're not rich. You can live good you can live very good in this world just with a good job if you don't try to overspend. So a lot of these people have overspent. They've overspent and that's why they're in trouble. Gotta get groceries off credit cards. When I lived in California, I don't make as much money as I did out there, but I live a lot better. I live a whole lot better and have more. Because I know how to spend now. I quit trying to buy those BMW X5s and the Mercedes truck. I got me a Jeep truck now and bought it used. Now I like it better than any of those. So, if you allow material goods to define your quality of life, you're going to always be miserable. But still, that I know that has nothing to do with food. You got to have food to be able to live. Now, the MAGA people are getting hit harder than anyone in this, about with the food stamps. But really, I'm not concerned with that because I can't say it's okay if these black folks over here start because some MAGA folks are doing bad. I don't feel good about doing bad because somebody else doing bad, even though they're the ones who caused it by voting for this man. But that don't stop your stomach from growling if you don't have any food in it, because there is growling too. Let me take a quick break, and I'll be right back in about 30 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I know that took longer than 30 seconds. It's a big place here, and I'm always misplacing something. But look, yeah, it don't make you feel better. As I was saying before I took the break, it don't make you feel better because some MAGA people are suffering. Cause you be thinking like them. That's why they voted for Trump to get someone else to suffer. Because if you notice, I know everyone I know that voted for Trump, be it white or black, they vote for him to try to get someone else because they want to see someone else suffer. Latinos voted against themselves, trying to get the other Latino groups to suffer. The Cubans wanted the Haitians and the Mexicans to suffer. The Haitians, the Haitians, the Cubans, the Jamaicans, and the Africans said they thought some of them was over here on visas and all. They thought that the thugs and gangsters that they were talking about were black people. Because they had, when those people come over here, they tell them that type of stuff about us. That's why you see they act arrogant with us. Black people lazy. Black people they're dangerous. But there's no excuse because they tell us stuff about them. But the Africans, no, we don't listen to that stuff. So that's no excuse. And how could we be lazy when you got $2.3 trillion spending power? Do you know that if we were a nation, you don't get that by being lazy. That's just spending power. That's not all we got. If we were a nation, we'd be something like the 15th richest nation on earth. They said 17, but if you put in, but that's not, they were just talking about spending power. You put in the rest, we put maybe the 14th, 15th richest nation on earth. I'm sort of adding a little because they did say just spending power. But we got more than just spending power. We got money in the bank, we got more than that. We don't spend it every time. But our problem is we're not poor. We just don't spend our money right. Our money just go straight out of our community. Your money's supposed to turn over in your community. You spend with people in your community, you buy things, and it keep turning over. In the Asian community, they say the money turn over hands 8 to 10 times before it leave out of there. I don't know about the Arab community, and it turns over in the white community. I don't know how many times. I have to look that up. Probably even more before it leaves out of there. I say probably I hate speculating, but more than likely, white people spend their money around their community. But the black dollar, it goes in our hands to somebody else's hand out of our community. When you shop in that Arab store, I know this is all we got now. A lot of times you can't help but to do that. When you shop in an Arab store, he don't spend that money here. He put it in the bank here. He takes it to his community. So they get rich off of their money and our money. When you go up to Fairview Heights to spend, which you really can't help. When you go up to all these other different areas outside your community to spend, and like I said, I don't blame you because I do too. You can't help it. When your community don't have the stuff you need, that money enriches their community, not ours. And like I said, we're not poor. Our money is not spent correctly, and that's really not our fault. Like I said, I have to go to these other areas and shop. If you don't have it in your community, you have to go out of your area to shop, and that's by design. You know how? I wish I hadn't taken that video down on this Asian woman. See now that they're all hurting, they're telling the truth about what the white folks been doing. Even some of the white folks telling the truth. She said that when they go to get business loans, see at the bank they tell them, look, white people are not gonna let you open a business in their neighborhood because they don't want you getting rich off of them. Say if you're gonna open a business, we'll only give you the loan if you open it in a black neighborhood. But she said at the same time, black people can't get the loan. So it's set up like that for us. So don't ever think that we're inferior, we're lazy. It is all this stuff we've been set up to fail. It's a wonder we're doing as well as we are, or made it as far as we have. We've been set up to fail. Every time we create, I showed you the other night, all the inventions black people made and how it was stolen from them. Every time a black man start prospering or a black woman start prospering, they get killed, their stuff taken. Do you know that Central Park? See, people like to talk about Rosewood and Tulsa, but there was a lot of Rosewoods and Tulsa. And then there was also private businesses that was taken that way, burnt down, black people's farm burning up. So it just wasn't just areas, it was also individual businesses that was taken like that. And you wonder why some black folks got to be on welfare? It's a surprise all of us are not. Black man made the first car. Well, he made the first car company. A man named Patterson, look him up. But the government put their money behind Ford and helped Ford out and said he was the first automaker. Marcus Garvey's pictures I spoke against Marcus Garvey before, but I did something I don't normally do. I said something before looking it up in research. When Marcus Garvey, they tried like he committed fraud, like he was trying to take money from black people, to take them back to Africa, but that wasn't the way it was. Because in 1921, for black people who had the money in the bank, they wouldn't have to give him the money. They wouldn't go to Africa. They could go on their own. But what happened was he built a ship line, and they was shipping products to and from Africa. They built all type of case papers against him, threw him in prison for fraud. And they say he was watching that prison window while he could see his ships from prison while they was dismantling his ships and selling his ships. You know they did that on purpose. All type of businesses by black people take. Where Central Park is at in New York. I'm saying this to show you. I don't see why all those white folks on welfare food stamps. I can see why we are. You look at all been taken away from us. In Central Park in New York, do you know that used to be a black community? They raised it. It was so prosperous. They ran the black folks out and raised it and put Central Park there. Now those white farmers, you see the farmers they got them doing Jim Crow. When they started Jim Crow, black people doing so well. There's always a reconstruction when black people start doing well. They saw Barack Obama being elected as president of the United States as a reason to start a new reconstruction, which we're going through right now. They took those black farmers' land, gave it to white farmers. When those white farmers you see crying now, they own stolen land that was taken from black farmers. Excuse me. And then we allowed the farm black guy and his family, they didn't know where to go. So many times they end up being sharecroppers on their own land that was rightfully theirs. And he had worked and built up, now he's a sharecropper. That's right, many of those black sharecroppers was sharecropping from their own, oh, excuse me, sharecropping from their own land. Well, land that was right should be rightfully theirs and used to be theirs. So that's why I don't fault any black people for being on welfare. Like these women, get all you can get. Everything you can get it. They should get. It's just a little small penny for a down payment on your reparations. So anything you can get from the government, you can get. It might be a penny, but at least get that penny. I don't fault any black person from getting something from the government. If I can get some food stamps, I get it. I fault these other people whose white privilege just, I mean, can you imagine that? Just what you somebody who feel bad about themselves and be depressed. If you had a 400-year head start, yet you still can't make it, and then your skin color gave you all type of privileges, and yet you standing up in the welfare office next to black people who some of them are even doing better than you. Don't you feel like a loser? A 400-year head start, race privilege, and you still couldn't make it? What kind of imbecile are you? Even a lot of black people doing bad. You gotta feel bad. We're getting ready to run a race. It's just like we playing football. I have to come and running, catch you and tackle you, and you start at the 20-yard line. I'm back at back in my own end zone. Then I run you. You start when I run you down and catch you, knock you down. You fumble the ball because you have fumbled just about everything. I scoop it up, take it in the end zone, and score. Wouldn't you feel silly? Wouldn't you feel like a misfit and just want to end it all? I mean, It's got to be a bad feeling because you have fumbled everything you touch. You fumbled this nation. Got it $37 trillion in debt. We didn't do that. Huge deficit. We didn't do that. Most richest nation in the history of the world, but so many of its people are poor. You call that good management? Can't get health care. But yet in other nations, which you call asshole nations and third world nations, they get free health care. You know why they wouldn't bring free health care here? Because they didn't want black people to get it. That's why. You know why they don't want to enact gun laws? Because of black people. You know what happened? Do it now. The NRA, they were for gun laws and gun restriction. Back when the Black Panthers was carrying guns, they were for it then. Even Ronald Reagan said, well, concealed carry is not for black people. See, Donald Trump is just Ronald Reagan on steroids. This started with him. But see, those other presidents had people around them to rein them in. Trump doesn't. He had a few in his last term. They said he wanted to go out there and have Black Lives Matters protesters shot, but the people around him stopped him. But see, he don't have anyone around him to stop him now. They're all enabling him. But I just can't see why more white, then they admitting that more white people on food stamps and welfare than they ever admitted, and less black people. Most crime in this nation is committed by white males. They're admitting that now. They used to wouldn't admit that. And I always knew. You know why you hear about black crime a lot? I'm gonna get back to that, but I gotta say this. It all ties in together. Black people don't live all over this nation. We live mostly in large metropolitan areas. We live congested. There's a whole lot of us in a smaller space. Whereas other folks are spread out all over the state. Like I said, I can drive from St. Louis to Chicago. You don't see another black person until I get to Chicago. I know there's some in Springfield, Bloomington, but you may not even see them. There's not that many. But they're all over the state, in every state. Okay, since black people are all congested, mostly in Chicago. There's some down here, but you know, let's say I told you this the other night, but I have to say it again because it's tying with this. Let's say there's 25 unalivings all over the state of Illinois on the weekend. There's 5 in Chicago. Which is one you're going to hear about? The ones in Chicago is in a more smaller area, and it's around the news networks around the large cities. Those ones you're in the outer state, that might be picked up on some country western radio station. And no one even hear about it. FBI statistic. Did you know that crime is engaged by actual crime committed, by how many arrests are made? Who get the most arrested? If see black people, it happen like this with us. They arrest, investigate. If one B, let us go. But that's still, even though they let you go and you wasn't charged, that still goes down as a crime in the crime stats. White people, they investigate, let go, investigate. If one B, arrest. That's why I also said in the crime. You can look at yourself, you can even Google it. That it also says that more black people are exonerated after an arrest. Most white people are not because they were investigated. They made sure they had a case against them before they even arrested them. But they just grabbed the black people to include their their record and our crime stats. Here's another thing. I remember reading in the paper. I pay attention to this type of stuff. If you read the papers, I remember when I was coming up, when a person committed a crime, you knew when it was a white person, they say it was a white woman. And then they say it was a man or a woman, but they always say black man or black woman. But look, if there's, you may read in the paper where they caught this white guy who was a burglar, or he was committing robberies in a neighborhood. Then you know what they would say? He was responsible for numerous robberies and burglaries in that neighborhood. But you know what they did? They don't want to ruin their property values and make it seem like their area is crime ridden. They waited till after they caught him before you even heard about it. Let's come back over to the black side. And then with a black guy, same black guy committing all the robberies and burglaries, but yet it's gonna be in the paper each day he did it. Each robbery is gonna be put in the paper. When they catch him, they may say he's responsible for numerous robberies and burglaries in that area. But yet they listed each one as he did it. Was the white neighborhood, they waited after they caught him. See, so they put it in your mind. It's a mind game. You see, every day you're seeing about a burglary and robbery in the black area, but not in the white area. It's a mind game they play with you to keep may always make us look like we're less than. Okay, let's look at it again. According to the FBI statistics, this is 2000 statistics. I haven't saw it. It should be updated every 5 years. It should be updated now. I'm going to look it up and look at the 2000 statistics. It said 90% of the crime in black areas was being committed by less than 2% of the same repeat offenders between the ages of 14 and 22. But you let people tell it, yeah, all of us doing it. If you notice, they grow up, start working or something, black folks who's making money, black people who got jobs, there's very little crime. See, around these in the cities, it's not crime. You take St. Louis now has dropped. They say now in St. Louis that what's the crime capital. They said now they're having the lowest rate since 2013. I think they're number 4 now. I think Memphis is number 1 now. But you take Memphis, St. Louis, any of them, there's not crime all over the city. It's in pockets. There's certain places you could St. Louis right now. It's crime free. Then you got one thing about the outside East, crime ridden Democratic city, they're not crime ridden. It's just that you got a lot of people in a small space. So it make it look that way, even though yours is committing even more crime. They just in a broader area. But okay, the you got cities all around, suburbs, virtually crime free. Now black people just prone to crime. Why come these working black folks are not committing all these crimes? You know why? Black people crime is tied mostly to economics. I did say 90%. There's always gonna be some. But most black crimes are tied to economics, not because we some savages who go out here just committing crime because we love it. But I tell you who do love it. Let's look at theirs. They can have jobs, be doing well, and committing their crimes at all income levels and all ages. Okay, look at January 6th. You see how old those people were? And you know what was going on? The parents was there second January 6th, and their children was marching in Black Lives Matters protest. They're very divided. Am I unity? No, there's no unity among them. You need strategy more than unity. But the thing about it is this: what black people you see with the type of jobs, income those people had, they were state reps, policemen, firemen, all type of people with good jobs, all type of income levels, out there doing some foolishness like that. You wouldn't see black people that age and at their income level out there doing something like that. I told you before that there was one white woman flew in on her private jet to join in that mess. What black woman you know who can afford a private jet would fly there for some mess like that? If she got a private jet, she'd probably flying, taking her a trip to Paris, London, or Accra or somewhere shopping. Wouldn't be involved in no mess like that. When you see the other people gangs, what's the ages of most black people in the gang? They're usually teenagers, early 20s. These people, they gang members have long gray beards. Grandpas, a dentist. Look at the Proud Boys and all that. Most of them are not young men. Most of them are middle-aged men. You don't see black middle-aged men doing no foolishness like that. He may have been a protest to protest some ill behavior by cops and all, but not out there trying to be in a gang, out there robbing folks. So don't let them think we're less than. We haven't fun with all this stuff. We haven't had the opportunity. Let me tell you about the see with the generational wealth. And that's why many of our people had to get government assistance. They shouldn't have had to. With the advantages that they've had, get a huge head start and still lose. That don't sound too superior to me. That sounds inferior to me. There was this black woman in Indianapolis I was reading about. She lived in Indianapolis, Indiana. She went to sell her mother's house. So she called her and her mother agreed. And she called the appraiser. They appraised the house at $110,000. She felt she felt that was too low. So she had appraised again at $125,000. She still felt that it was too low, so she had a white friend of hers to sell the house for her. Same house, same neighborhood. It was appraised at $259,000. See how much money they was cheating her out of. How can we be a generational wealth and you keep cheating us out of it? That's usually how you be a generational wealth through property. Now, you remember stories that the older people would tell you, say, whenever they wanted to sell their house, they had to take all the pictures and all off the wall and don't let it look like any black people live there. You say would DEI hire anyone other than the white man? How many of you have had some of your family members to tell you years ago when they would work, and it'd be mostly black people working, they would have a white person come in, usually a white man, and tell the black people to train them, show them the job. Usually black people would say, well, let's train our new boss. So they knew what was going on. What they would do is they had the black people to train them. As soon as they train them a little bit, next thing you know, that's their boss or supervisor. He was DEI white. He was a white only DEI. Because if it was done right, why not get one of those black people who trained him to be the boss or the supervisor? That's why things like affirmative action and DEI was needed. Instead of saying the results of it, why you don't look at why it was needed in the first place? And black people didn't start those programs. White people did. So they saw how things was being done against black people. So you see, you've had every opportunity, every step of the way. So I don't feel sorry about your food stamps. And now I feel sorry about for the black women and children and men. But when you've had that kind of head start and you fumbled it, because you fumbled everything you get your hands on. They say, oh, go get a job. You're lazy, don't do no hard work. We've always done hard work. We've done all your hard work. You just supervised and managed it. When it came time to pick your crops, you went all the way to the other side of the world to get some people because you were too lazy to do that. And then you had your people so brainwashed, they stood there and let you bring in free labor while they didn't have jobs. Those white people back then was living bad. At least the black people was eating hog intestines and pig feet and brains and livers and all that. Some of you didn't have nothing to eat. Okay, you didn't do no hard work then. And yet he fooled the white folks and they're going along with it and let them bring in free labor even though they didn't have jobs. Black people, when they stop working the farms, what you do? You went and got some immigrants to do it because you were too lazy to do it. When it came time for you to build a railroad, what did you do? You went and got the Chinese to do that. The only time you started doing some work was the inventive machinery. When the slaves came here, they came and they improved your agriculture because many of them was farmers. They taught you how to plant. You didn't even know how to plant rice, corn, and certain crops. They had to come do it for you. They show you different type of minerals and iron ore. Showed you how to smelt it. Started making better buildings because you was living in log houses until they came. Slaves came. That's why they had to build the White House, the plantations, the infrastructure, even up in the north. So when did you do some hard work? You sat on machines, even on your farms and even on construction jobs now. You sat on a machine and watch others work. You supervise. You haven't done any work. You supervise and you administrate. And you fumble that. Just look at the way the condition this nation is in. You fumble that. Who gets $37 trillion in debt? You say, oh, well, I just print out some more money. More and more debt. That don't erase the debt. So when have you done some hard work? We've always done it. And now, you notice they were just saying, they want the Latinos back. They said, we thought black people was going to get on the farm. You notice how they mentioned everybody but white folks getting out there on the farms? They know they're too lazy to do it. And you see, they're not talking about them going out there. They know they're not going to. Don't even talk about us. We're not going to either. So you better, so they may, but see what they're trying to do. They're trying to, they're trying to provoke black people because, see, slavery wasn't abolished in this nation. You can still be a slave if you was convicted of a crime in the 15th Amendment. That's why they want to put a lot of black people in the prison industrial system because when I told you about how many people still say, yeah, but that's still more black people in prison. There's always been free labor. Even back in the 1800s when black people wasn't hardly committing any crime. They were going to jail for just about anything. talking back to a white person. So there's always been more black people in prison. And I've had some black people come to me and go, I get this. Tell me this about black folks. Even if some stuff you say is true, why argue their case for them against us? Let them argue it. We don't have to be perfect. Everybody think we gotta be perfect all the time. Like if we do anything that we shouldn't, then we deserve everything we get. All black people on slaves. So what? That don't excuse what you did. What people you know who have went through atrocities and some of their people then collaborate and emulate the oppressor and do it to you also. No people in the world. And all people have done that. Anywhere that's suffering, some of and anywhere that your people having some things done against them, it can be some of your people help collaborate with them. You don't tell the Jews that that the Holocaust was okay. Well, but let me sit back to the slave before I get to that. They say, well, Africans sold Africans. No, sold their people. No, they didn't. They sold people of other ethnic groups, people they were warring against, and people that was in prison. They didn't sell their people. See, all we know over here is race because we don't know our nationality and ethnicity, what it was over there. All we know is race. Those people go by ethnicity and nationality. That's why you see when the black people come over here, they rather deal with the white people who are of their ethnicity and nationality than they do us. Because that's what they identify by. That's why we say, how can Latinos be doing this to other Latinos? They don't care nothing about them. I lived in Chicago and I lived in Los Angeles. And if you call a Puerto Rican a Mexican, you better get ready to fight, and vice versa. You call a Mexican a Puerto Rican, they get they speak slang Spanish and get so angry. So they didn't sell their own people. Their people was of their nationality and ethnicity. I was going to say the reason I was going to say about the Jews in Germany. Hitler went into Europe unaliving people, stealing their land and resources and all. They were Caucasians just like him. No one said he was doing this to his own people because they knew that his people were Germans. They don't see them all as the same. And those Africans over there were the same way. And what but see, other people don't have to be perfect. They can do things to their people, it's fine. Because do you know that I told you this before, but it's been a while since I said it. In the there were Jews who were Nazis. They were in the Nazi party. That was up to those who were known, up to 300,000 known Jews in the Nazi army, helping to unalive and gas their people. But no one says that they need to shut up about the Holocaust because some of their people participated. But like anything happened to us, it's fine if some of our people participate. Then they come up with the thing, oh, there's been slavery around for thousands of years. There's been murder around for thousands of years. So what? See what they do? They don't bring that to anyone else. There's been genocide around for thousands of years. But do you tell the Jews to be quiet about the Holocaust because other people have faced genocide before? You only do that to black people. No matter what's been around, what that got to do with us? That does. They had slaves over there. Well, let them people worry about over there. We worried about here. Not for us to worry about the whole world. We're concerned with our situation. They take care of their situation. You think they're concerned about us? If they were, somebody would have came over and got us. Those Africans knew we were over here. Getting and hearing them say, let's go and try to get some of our people, get our people back. They didn't give a damn about us. They left us here to rot. That's what they did. I remember Eddie Griffin, the comedian, he gave a joke. He said, you know, when when white people, you take some of their people, they all cover just one person, they're going to get them. He said, and all these years we've been here, you haven't seen one African on the Carolina coast in a canoe with a spear talking about give me my people back. They left us here and forgot all about it. Now you want to come talking about brotherhood? You got to come with more than that. You got to come with a lot more than that. But see, our people are unique people. I'm surprised we still here all they put us through. And it's a whole lot on every level. But never let nobody try to individualize things. I didn't own any slave. We're talking about the system. We're not talking about you. You still benefiting from the system that started slavery and still benefiting from the works of free labor. Somebody came to my town gonna bring some people to work for free, and I don't have a job. You think I'm gonna go for that? But the white folks did, cause all you gotta do is say, we're gonna make these black people slaves. Yeah, make them slaves, man. Make them work for free. Then you gotta go sleep under a tree somewhere. But the slave did have a slave quarter. I know what kind of sense did that make? Wasn't the best of housing, but he didn't have none at all. Him and his family sleeping under the tree. They used to live like that back then, sleeping in a cave. But he let that free labor come in and keep him from working. If you put a black face on, they put a black face on welfare. That's why many are against it. Like I told you about the Affordable Care Act. Obama name is just the slang name for the Affordable Care Act that the Republicans gave it to have people against it. That's why you see all on TV, they look like some damn fools. I don't want that Obamacare. You want to talk all against it? I want to keep my Affordable Care Act, not knowing that Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. And they look so stupid. They look really ridiculous. But they just don't like the idea of something with the black man. It's got something to do with a black person. And they don't know what they're talking about. Well, we just got to find a way to make it. Because see what they're doing now. They're trying to get black people to run out in the streets and clown. We won't do it. We're staying home. I know I am. I know I am. Now, I can't tell somebody else what to do. If you want to go out there, that's your business. You got to do what your conviction says. But if you get out there and they swoop you up, and you believe me, you're going to be the first one they swoop up. And that was when this all first started. They had a protest in Philadelphia, and there was these 8 black women, the only ones out there. The police came in and made some arrests. Guess how many? 8 arrests. Guess who it was? Now I recorded the No Kings, No Oligarchy protest in St. Louis. It was about 10,000 people. I saw maybe 20 black people out there. You know what they did? In the beginning, at the beginning of the paper, was a black woman helping to carry the sign. And in between, you have these black guys on bullhorns. Don't y'all know them the first people they're going to come after? They were using you. Say, I don't protest. I've never been in a protest in my life and never will. I tell you why. Because I would ruin your protest. Because I don't believe in peaceful protests. I don't. And there's not enough people like me around. I explained this to you before. You cannot black my eye, knock my teeth out, knock me upside the head. And then when I get ready to start fighting back, but you gotta be peaceful. Now, I'm gonna black your eye. I'm gonna knock out both of your eyes. You always hit harder. You always come back harder. Knock all your teeth out. Mess you up. Then we're both then. Maybe we can sit at the table, both of us all messed up, and we can talk about it. But I'm not gonna be sitting at the table messed up and and you in a 100% condition, and I'm sitting there all messed up. Peaceful protest is only for us. I do whatever I want you to you, but you got to respond with peace. The hell with that. But look, um, we got to find some way. Maybe the Congress will overturn it. I can no, they won't. They can't. But maybe they'll find a way to get these people the SNAP benefits. I hope so. But many people really need it. I hope they find a way to get it to them. Some people need it to, after they paid their rent, they need the Section 8 to need sometimes sell a few to get some other stuff. I know if I got 4,000 a month, no way all that's going on in groceries. I don't eat that much, and neither did they. But they were getting amounts that black people, oh man, black people would dream of getting. They were getting more than in government benefits than most people make on their jobs. Oh, and they still can't make it. With all that going on, white privilege, 400-year head start, you can get more government benefits than most folks get on make on their job, and you still crying. You're just a misfit. Don't know how to manage your life. I was given all of that. I wouldn't have blowed it like that. Like I said, you fumbled everything you touched. You fumbled this world, polluted it, destabilized nations all over the world. Now I'm talking about going into Nigeria and Venezuela for what? Beat up on countries you know can't fight you back. Russia and China can do whatever they want to do. You're not going to India because they got the weapons. And see, I'm gonna tell you what these. I don't want to get upset, but I'm gonna tell you what these armies do now. You know what? I notice how these armies just want to bomb, bomb, bomb. Because every time when they put boots on the ground, it don't go too well for them. Even though they have superior firepower. You know why Israel doing all that bombing? The last time they went to Lebanon and fought Hamas on the ground, Hamas kicked their butts because they were used to Arabs who couldn't fight. They said Israeli soldiers coming back to, oh, these guys can actually fight. And Israel had to pull out. They was getting their butts whipped on the ground. That's why they're doing all that bombing. That's all these armies want to do now is bomb people because they boots on the ground haven't worked very well with them. They don't alive a lot of your people. But because you got the mightiest army, don't mean you gonna always win. Now back to my subject about the food stamp. You see, they say this is the richest nation on earth. But you know what they gauge riches by? Stock market. How much the rich people are making. They don't give a damn about you and me. What I what I care about the stock exchange rose 500 points. Or you don't have that kind of stock. I remember when I got some Bitcoin. It never did go up, it always went down. I'm gonna tell you, I bought $2 worth just to see how it's gonna go. Never did go up. Always went down. I haven't even checked on it lately. It sells so bad. So bad. So I was just trying it out. So I wasn't gonna put a lot of money into it. I was just trying it out. But it crashed on me every time. So so yeah, they I always said they talking about the richest nation on earth, but it's not if it can't service but a small fraction of its people. They say we got the best haircut in the world. Who cares if you can't access it? Who cares? I'd rather go to the 20th or the 50th best. There's not that much difference in them. Then the best that I can access, how your system the best when all your people can access? You say system, not treatment. How is your system the best when most of your people can access? That don't sound like the best to me. If you had the best, your healthcare would be free like most of the rest of the world. But you just want to get every little nickel you can get. They was talking about immigrants. They were just trying to hold the bill up for hold 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 the not open Congress back up for saying the Democrats want to give immigrants free health care. That's a lie. It's illegal to give immigrants free health care. And you can treat them. I mean, come on now, if somebody got to go to the emergency room, they're going to get treated. Just like Americans or people from the United States go to other nations, get sick, they get treated. On health care is free over most of those nations. Because I know people who have traveled around, they've gotten sick in other nations and didn't have to pay a dime. They said the health care was good. Because all the things they say that make the United States have the best health care system has nothing to do with actual treatment and research. So many of your people don't even hear health care. How you get the best health care system? It's because you say so? Because of the money it makes? Generates money for you, so it's the best. Yeah, but I'm not gonna hold you long tonight. But look, um, I thank you all for tuning in. I know it's a little late. I was so busy today, and I just want to come on and talk about the welfare situation because might hit our women and children kind of hard. So, well, why come the fathers don't take care of them? Who says he don't? Just like the mama taking care of them. But still, people just don't have enough money to buy all this high price stuff. You see how bad the shelves getting empty? People can't spend all their money on food. Yeah, they can't spend it all on food. Let's just say. They have to have other things also. The woman that was getting $10,000 in government, $10,100 in government benefits. You know what she had the nerve to say? How am I gonna put gas in my car to ride to work? Not to ride to work, to ride down, to ride. She said she had somewhere she had to go. If she started working, how she gonna get gas for her car? By working. She really claimed like it was the government's responsibility to take care of her. Sometimes you can do things for people for so long until they think that you're obligated to do so. You know, like the conversation I had last night about the churches. Yeah, they help out, help pantries, feed you if they want to, but they're not obligated to. No, they're not obligated. They do it because they want to. So don't go in thinking they owe you. But I'm not gonna hold you like hold you long tonight. I'm getting a bit sleepy myself. Had a long day today and yesterday. I did the East St. Louis Flyers game yesterday. I had stopped doing uh, East St. Louis sports because I had a little thing with the district. And well, the people are not very supportive. So I can't go all the way out of town. Put in my cash out, my PayPal. I can't go all the way out of town. Keep spending my money. And then the least little thing you see, you want to criticize about. You be the very ones who haven't paid a dime. You donate because you don't have to pay me. You're going to watch the game regardless. But you're too lazy to even push the like button on it. Like or subscribe. And I know who some of you are because you watch it every time I do a game, but you won't even push the like button. And that's one of the reasons I had to stop doing it because it's messing up the algorithm on my station. So I'm getting, do a game at 8,000 views, 20 likes. Come on now. Gotta do better than that. I just can't mess up my channel messing around with these sports games. Yeah, so I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. But remember, if you can, help some help some of these women and children out if you can, if it gets bad. If it really gets bad for them. Man, we fend for ourselves. Man, sleep and eat anyway. Women and children can't do that. Yeah, women. The women and children can't do that. They gotta look out for them. I'm not talking about who you like and don't like. I don't like her. I don't go what happened to her and her kids. You don't have to like them. Just help them. I help a lot of people I don't like. Yeah, but I better give it a sign out because I'm sitting here about to go to sleep. I'm about to go to sleep. But yeah, we gotta be a little careful because right now we're kind of in a peaceful state, but we do have to be strategizing. And people trying to knock us out of that peaceful state. They don't even know how to act. And if I go, let me tell you this. They were saying, why come the blacks not suffering? We suffering, why are you even saying some crap like that? Everybody's talking, the Africans, everybody, like they want to see us suffer. So they're not satisfied unless we're suffering. So I'm not satisfied unless you suffer. And if you never notice, they talking about black people go back to Africa. Why don't they go back to Europe? Have you noticed they never talk about going back to Europe? Yet Europe's supposed to be so great. They never try to go back to Europe. But it's so great, let them tell it. Oh well. I mean, yeah, I better get ready to get up. But look, that's why I wanted to try. I brought that up tonight. I know I jumped off into a whole lot of other subject, but I usually do that anyway. You know why so many people are living in poverty and the richest nation in the history of the world, they say. If they're living in poverty, they're lazy. That's why. That's everything we tried, they kicked us out of it. Anything that's good and beneficial never be never benefit us. Now stole everything from us. And now talking about, you see, we're all brothers and sisters, we're the same. No, we're not. We're not the same. Yeah, yeah, everybody want to team up with you and get in with you when they need you. They want something from you. You all can give it to them if you want to, but I'm not giving them a damn thing. Scratch it out the dirt. And I'm not giving them nothing. That what happened in Chicago. And Chicago is a sanctuary city. They allowed those immigrants come in the building. They run the electric lines because they didn't know electric and all that. And now they were making them come up in your community looking for you. Why? Because you had those immigrants up in your neighborhood. The one in Chicago where they raised the building, they had the children in ties, they say. Never showed it, but they said it. Well, do you know that there was Venezuelans? There was Venezuelans living in that building among those black people because they said the black people said when they first came, they didn't have shoes, they had flip flops, and they had to give them shirts because it was getting cold. I wouldn't have wasted my time with them. Should have grabbed their shoes and shirts and all that on the way out the door. Let them people come and hide up in your building. And when they come in, don't be just one. I know like in LA there was a car accident and 10 Latinos were killed. But it was a one car accident. All of them packed in one car. And then, oh, I'm gonna rent this place. It'd be my just my wife and kids and me. Next thing you know, they're like they're having a convention in that house. Got so many of the people living there. But see the thing about I said to say this that we can't save everybody else. We can barely save ourselves. We don't know the end results of this with us. We're not all the way out the woods. Oh, I better let you go. I'm getting around a little bit now. I'm getting so sleepy. But thank you for tuning in to No More Water. Bye next time. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and I'll see you next time.